Very good evening, teachers. Welcome to this platform. Welcome to this new session, which is actually designed for foundation years teachers. But yes, I don't want to dishearten the teachers who are dealing with, say, suppose higher grades or secondary grades. So, yes, we'll be using the same teaching learning material handkerchief for the higher grades too. So yes, now it is designed for everyone. All the teachers are welcome. And before that, I would like to give you an announcement that on 2nd of June, we are going to have a very enriched session which is related to the children with special needs. Nowadays children are getting admissions in every grade which are having special, say suppose, needs. So the children who are having autism, dyslexia and ADHD, they are prominent in the schools, normal schools, and we as teachers need to have certain skills, or you can say the basics which is related to the children who are having special needs. So for that, we are having a very enriched session with Dr. Sonia. She's a psychologist and a certified counselor too. So she will be giving you fruitful insights. So if you are interested, then you can ping up on my number and you can go for the registration. So let's move on for the topic of the day, and let's see what is there for you today. So I hope the screen is visible to everyone. You can give me thumbs up reaction so that I can proceed further. Yes, teachers. Great. Very nice. Okay, so let's move ahead. Handkerchief as a source of fun learning. So one day when I was just having a round in my kindergarten wing, I saw few children, they were playing with handkerchief, and that was the source of, you know, learning on this particular topic, that why children are playing with the handkerchief, what fun they are actually getting, and if I indulge that fun in my lesson plan, how this fun will be fruitful for the children, and it will be helpful for me too as a teacher to help them in their learning, making their session enriched as per their need, and they will also get more and more connected to me. So the idea behind this whole case study is this only, that how handkerchief can be used as a source of fun learning, as a teaching learning material basically. So let's move ahead with it. Traditionally associated with practical uses like wiping your nose or hands, whatever. But nowadays, creative ways are there which are being incorporated how we will use these hankies in our learning. So, first of all, we'll start our journey from kindergarten, and gradually this journey will move on to higher grades too. So, by the end of this session, we shall be covering all the grades. So, let's start from the beginning one, color recognition. As you can see in the pictures also, use of hankies of different colors to teach toddlers or preschoolers about primary colors or secondary colors, lay them out and ask the children to pick up the specific colors or do sorting. We usually do sortings in our classroom. We do paintings, we do dabbing and sponging. So we can use the attribute handkerchief for the color recognition as well. So this is the very first creative way how we can use handkerchief in the classroom. Second one is the counting games. Lay out a bunch of hankies and ask children to count them. You can make it more interactive by asking them to fold or to stack the hankies in different ways to represent their numbers. As you can see in the picture, this is a traditional games which we used to play in our school days, and nowadays these things are less visible. When we talk about the toy pedagogy as per CBSC, the pedagogy says this only, that we have to incorporate those important pillars which are actually vanished nowadays. So the idea behind using handkerchief is this only, that we have to make the sessions enriched by the things which are actually should be done by the children. Next is pattern recognition. Create simple patterns using colorful hankies, using primary colors or secondary colors, that is your wish, and children to continue the pattern. When we teach patterns to the children, usually we use worksheets. But yes, when we are using hands-on learning attributes, it will help them to do their kinesthetic learning. And I always emphasize on kinesthetic learning, because your experiential learning is nothing but the kinesthetic learning only. So when your WAC model is being implemented in the early years, or like say in the primary years, then we always emphasize the teachers to go for the activities rather than in the worksheets, but in the natural way, or like say using the different attributes on table, and putting those attributes and helping the children to you know visualize, and you just see the things and feel the things, rather than doing coloring all the time in the worksheets only. So such pattern recognition is being done by using different attribute. Handkerchief is just one example. You can use cushion also, but yes, handkerchief is something which is very handy and can be easily carried by every child in the bag. And when they have their own hanky, they will feel as if they have their own attribute. So that is also one important reason, because every time we won't be able to have every resource for every child. It is the limitation which I can see in kindergarten, that yes, every attribute is not assessed by every child. We don't have that much of copies for that. That is why we are more emphasized on doing worksheets rather than using those examples in hand. So yes, handkerchief is a very common attribute carried by every child in the bag, as a part of life skill, or carrying it like important part of the life, because we use handkerchief for a number of things in our daily routine. Next is sensory play. This is how we see children play, isn't it? So hide small objects under the hanky and let children guess what is underneath by feeling, by the texture, or by the shape. When we talk about sensory play, it is not every time sensory walks or sensory beans. It is like that, how we innovate our sensory activities. As a teacher, what I feel, that how I can encourage my children in the classroom using different attribute. Why every time taking complicated attribute? It is a very simple one, and we can merge our sessions. For example, just very simple example, I'm giving language skill along with sensory play. I have a template of letter A, and that template is actually having a texture, and I keep that textured letter A underneath the hanky, and then I tell the children, can you please guess it, which letter is this? And then they feel, and then they will give you the response, and eventually their play is being done, and your rubrics is done along along with this. So this is how we do, and we observe the children, and we help the children, and we do the assessment of the children. Why every time on the worksheets? Why not practically? Now let me move on to the story props. Story props is something which we usually used to make by hands, or by simple play cards, or different cutouts we use in the classroom. But yes, rug dolls are also there, which can be easily made from handkerchief. So use hankies as props in storytelling. They can represent different objects, characters, landscapes depending on the story being told. So encourage children to use their own imagination. Give them that chance to create their own story props using their own brain. They will not do any kind of stitching. They will not do any kind of using glue or something like that. But yes, by folding only, by folding in their own way, they will create story props. And as a teacher, as an early year teacher, what is my idea behind it is we have to encourage the children when they are doing folding, when they are doing picking, when they are doing just molding and rolling the hanky. This is all being sorted because we need to encourage them for the fine motor activity, and eventually in their own idea, it is something which they have created by their own, and we as teachers have to encourage them because in their imagination it is something like a doll or maybe a camel or maybe a lion. So we have to tell the children that you have to create, but we are not actually telling them how to create. So let them do that STM by themselves. That is what STM is all about, isn't it, everyone? So let the children give an idea, but don't let the children to get spoon feed for everything. Give them that chance and just appreciate them, because in their own imagination it is something which they have created and it is resembling to that particular thing which you have told them to make. Next one is the craft projects. Get creative with hankies by using them in various craft projects. So craft projects are also there. We are not doing any kind of a sieving or embroidery in the early years, but yes, we can motivate the children in SUPW when they are moving towards their primary grades. So children are like five fingers in the classroom. Those who are excelling, we always make them to do excelled work as well. So craft projects is definitely for those who are unique learners. So let it be, because we are never letting the excelled children coming back to the meeting and approaching points. I hope you all agreed with this. Excelling children are always excelling only. We are helping the approaching and meeting ones to get influenced by the uh, excelling ones and reach there as per our rubrics, isn't it? So the next one is outdoor exploration. I really love this. And I don't know how many of you feel that outdoor learning is very, very, very important in the early years. Don't get children confined to that cube only. Design your sessions accordingly. Make them go out of the class. Don't make them feel stagnant all the time in the classrooms. Design certain sessions which are outside the classroom, and take hankies on a nature walk. When you are doing the nature walk, after doing that nature walk, then find something interesting which is there in that garden area or which is there in that particular area where you are doing your nature walk. Give them small baskets in groups. Let them collect those materials so that they are not only doing the nature walk, but they are collecting something. And whatever they are collecting, that is actually meant for your next session. So here you are completely sorted as a teacher, because you have helped them to gather also the things, all the things, and your learning objective is totally accomplished because you are actually just designing the session. All the things are being done by the children. So when we are going for the nature walk, give them certain things to collect the attributes, and followed by that, you can do one interesting game also. As you can see in this picture, this is a very old time games, and it is never old, isn't it? We used to play in our school times as well, and nowadays also I can see this game. But yes, rules keep on changing, learning objective goals keep on changing, but yes, the attribute is remains same, that is the handkerchief. So motivate such outdoor exploration in your lesson plan. Make the children do such things. Let them enjoy. Let them do the learning in a very fun manner. Music and movement. Now again, very interesting tic-tac-toe you can see on this screen, where different colored hankies are there, small hankies, and they are playing with those hankies, and game is actually tic-tac-toe. So tic-tac-toe is not always that cross and zeros. It is something like that, that how you mold the things. Here my gross motor activity is how we can throw the hanky in that particular block. For example, just one example I've taken, or all the yellow hankies in this block, or all the blue hankies in this block. So here I am using hankies of different colors. Here I am actually making them to understand, recognize the colors, and then gross motor skill, throwing, and then understanding in which block the child has to make the hanky go on, like say. So many things we are doing, and plus they are enjoying because I am playing the music also. The moment I will stop the music, they have to throw that hanky in that particular block. So here creativity, encouraging creativity, gross motor skill, music, fun, movement, throwing, understanding, recognition, so many things are going on, and they are enriched with the learning objective which you are actually looking forward. So we can use such ways to make our lesson plans more and more interesting using those old time hankies. Now, maths games, numeracy games. Cut the hankies into different shapes and size and use them for hands-on maths activity. One of our teacher is doing sorting, matching, basic geometry applications or explorations. So using that hanky, every child carries hanky to the school. You need not to create a different resource room for it. Just take out from the bag, and what the teacher says, the teacher will do, the children will do, I do, we do as per NCRT, and exploration as per the new curriculums, hands-on learning as per the new curriculums. So many things at one single page. That is what the beauty of early years classrooms. So let the children explore such things. Next one is science experiment. So this is the beautiful experiment which we do in kindergarten, and children do it in the presentations also very beautifully. They do the whole procedure, and the parents will get, sometimes they feel astonished, sometimes they feel very delighted that how my child is doing such kind of experiment, STEM experiment basically, in such a small age. So here the attribute is again hanky, small tumblers, and how the color is passing. So that movement, it is actually capillary reaction, but here children are very small. Here we are telling them absorption, how it is moving, movement, very small attributes we are telling them, that this is how it goes. So such kind of experiment should be the part of kindergarten, not every time doing 1D learning. It should be a 3D learning process. Then only children see, understand, visualize, recognize, and collaborate also with their team members. And let them do in the group. Let them explore the things. That is what the motive behind it. Now the journey is moving towards the primary, secondary, higher grades using handkerchief as a teaching and learning material. So an innovative and interactive way to engage the students in various subjects. Now we shall be putting lights on the subjects, basically social studies, biology, physics, mathematics. That was all about the foundation years, how you have to motivate the children to go for such things, how you can use handkerchief, a very small attribute material in the bag which they usually want to play with. So you are actually helping them to play also, and to make them do their wish as well, which they are actually looking forward from their heart, and do the learning as well. Now we are putting some light on the creative ways to utilize handkerchief in teaching. Now the very first one is mathematics, geometry. Fold the handkerchief to demonstrate various geometrical shapes like squares, rectangle, triangle, etc. Now, a very interesting question I want to ask everyone. Good number of teachers are here, and this question's answer should be there in the chat box. Are you ready, teachers? Come on, everyone. I really love to go for such questions in between of the session. So my question is, when you are introducing, say suppose any shape, let's take it circle. So if you introduce circle in your classroom, and just join when this session ends, rejoin it. Okay, everyone? So my question is, when you introduce any subject in the classroom, I'm not telling you to assume any other class teacher, the class which you teaches, assume that class only. When you introduce any new shape in the classroom, how you introduce that shape? Chat box is open for everyone. We all are learning from each other. Share your view, how you introduce. Very nice. I'm getting the responses. Maheshwari, through a song. Okay. Any other teacher? Come on, teachers. Through activity, objects and songs. Very specific. Okay. Through story, riddles, smartboard, songs and objects, songs, puzzles. Great. Activity. Real objects. Great. Lovely. Thank you so much for your response, teachers. So yes, when we are introducing any shape, so we always assume as if the child sitting in front of me do not know anything. That is the main thing which we need to keep in our mind, that the child sitting in front of me do not know anything about that shape. Then only I can teach my children in a most appropriate manner. Because when we assume that children know these things, we always feel that I will do this part, I will not do this part, I will skip this, because children already know. Because yes, children know, but not everyone. If 10 children out of 15 children know about any particular topic, what about those 5? So always design your session from -1, not even from 0, from -1 and goes till 10. That is what the way is. So using handkerchief as a part of teaching shapes, but yes, before doing that, we need to tell them about that particular shape, either by song, either by rhyme, either by real objects, or any kind of a activity. Activities actually come later. When we are introducing, we are actually showing them visual learning, we are making them to hear, that is what the song, and we are actually making them to do actions, that is by any kind of a rhyme or any action song. After introduction, we will make them to make certain things or feel certain things which are actually related to that particular shape. Here, this hanky is actually triangular in shape, but you can make them to do critical thinking by folding the hanky in a way to create a triangle. Very interesting. So make the children do from their own hand. You never know what kind of a triangle they will create. Even you, sometimes you won't assume that this can be done. Sometimes children do. So give them the opportunity. Not every time the teacher will do everything. Give them that scope to the children that you will do and I will see and you will help me as well. Every time ma'am will not help you, you will also help. So the next one is measurement. Now here I can see area, perimeter. We can calculate the area and perimeter of different objects in the worksheet. But when we are giving them different shapes of hankies, different sizes of hankies, they will put more interest because they are having something in their hand. Really, teachers, trust me, when they get something in their hand, their approach is slightly 100% more as compared to the things given in the worksheet. So every time 1D learning won't work, 3D learning is actually working. Let me move on to the science subject now. Now let's talk about physics and biology. Demonstrate principles of physics such as force and motion by tying the objects to the corner of the handkerchiefs and swing it to show centrifugal force. So when we are teaching them force and motion, we do n number of experiments. We tell them that this is how force work. These are the different, forces. This is motion. So use handkerchief to show them how we can do experiment for centrifugal force. It's just one example I have put in front of the screen. N number of examples are there if you will search, and you will find that yes, I can use handkerchief for the small experiment. Biology. Use handkerchief as a makeshift microscope slide to observe small specimens. This is something which is really interesting, and one of my friend has suggested me this, that they used to make this makeshift microscope slides to observe small specimen. If any teacher need help, I will definitely help you out if any biology teacher is here, because I also find it interesting. And this is the picture which is in front of you, how they make. These are actually not handkerchiefs, but yes, like this only, it's a very thin cloth. So from that they make these slides. So it is what you can say a substitute, or you can say a refined form of the word handkerchief. Next one is language art. Language art is a very interesting topic, and language teachers hopefully like it. Storytelling. Use the handkerchief as a prop in storytelling activities. Students can use to act and create characters in a story. I saw holiday homeworks of few schools where I find that language teachers give such kind of activities in holidays homework so that children will do stitching with their mother rather watching screen. They will do stitching, small stitching habits inculcate by the mother at home. They spend time with their mother, and their mother will also feel happy when they are making such kind of rough characters from worn out handkerchiefs or new one, that is their wish. But yes, spending time with the parents is again a question mark nowadays, because children are very much prone to the screens and all. So here we can help the children to create such characters in the story, and you can use those characters when they will come back to the school. Use the characters they have made from their own hand and create one story play or role play or whatever, or you can say a puppet show using all those characters of the which have created by those children. And then you can use in your lesson plan also in any literature story of English or Hindi, whatever. So here everything is being created by the children, and they have spent their time, valuable time with their parents also. They have learned something which is part of the school. No doubt in SUPW we learn stitching and all, but yes, sometimes keeping in view our other studies, we hardly get such periods sometimes. So yes, they will learn one life skill. Poetry. Encourage the students to write poetry inspired by the texture, color, and pattern of the handkerchief. Very interesting, and I've seen children doing this. In one of our projects, I've seen this. Children are making, you know, the rug dolls by themselves. After that, they will write a poetry inspired by that rugged doll. Sometimes you can give hanky, textured hanky as such to the children, and then you can make them to create the poetry. So it is again a very interesting and something out of the room session for the children, because every day doing the same smart board learning, doing the same worksheets won't work. Next is social study, cultural studies, explore different cultures. So when we are exploring different cultures, sometimes we talk about the Britishers and the history lessons which we have in our history books, examining traditional uses of handkerchiefs around the world. Discuss their significance in different societies and historical, even in our country, which is having so much diversity. There we can see the different ways of putting the scarves and using hankies in different societies, so we can indulge such good learnings in the vocabulary of the children. Historical events